Well, things got a little testy last night in Georgia and on social media when the Daily Beast reported that Herschel Walker paid for the abortion of a girlfriend in 2009. He was on Fox News, denied it actually took place. It set off a firestorm. And who actually was at the center of that bonfire? His son, Christian Walker. He, of course, has been trashing Democrats and others for a long, long time, defending his father, supporting his run, defending Donald Trump. Well, it looked like Christian had enough of enough, and man, he sent out these tweets blasting Herschel Walker last night, saying that the entire family told him not to run, that all of these things were going to come out, that he was sick of him as well. Herschel then puts out a tweet where he's said how he loved his son. I tweeted back which one, because even his son said, "Oh, look, how many all new kids popping up every other week during this election." Well, today, Christian Walker, after last night's controversy, he put out a scathing video attacking his dad again. Watch.
I stayed silent as the atrocities committed against my mom were downplayed. I stayed silent when it came out that my father, Herschel Walker, had all these random kids across the country, none of whom he raised. And you know my favorite issue to talk about is father absence. Surprise, because it affected me. That's why I talk about it all the time, because it affected me. Family values, people. He has 4 kids, 4 different women, wasn't in the house raising one of them. He was out having sex with other women. Do you care about family values? I was silent, lie after lie after lie. The abortion card drops yesterday. It's literally his handwriting in the card. They say they have receipts, whatever. He gets on Twitter. He lies about it. Okay, I'm done. Done. Everything has been a lie. And so for the right to say I'm being suspicious for saying, hey, I'm done with the lies, when you all have been calling me saying, is this true about your dad? Gosh, we're not going to win Georgia, this candidate, all that's been you. You have no idea what I've been through in my life. You have no idea what me and my mom have survived. We could have ended this on day 1. We haven't. I haven't told any stories. I'm just saying, don't lie. Don't lie on my mom. Don't lie on me. Don't lie on the lives you've destroyed and act like you're some moral family man. Y'all should care about that, conservatives. And then for people on the left to act as though I'm responsible for all of the things that he has done. I've talked about father absence. I've talked all these issues because they've been close to me, because they matter to me, because I went through it. That's why I've talked about it. So when you say, well, talk about your dad, but I'm saying this behavior is atrocious. Don't come for me. You don't have to like my politics. You don't have to like me. You don't have to. I'm just saying I'm done with the lies. We were told at the beginning of this he was going to get ahead of his past, hold himself accountable, all of these different things, and that would have been fine. Go ahead. He didn't do any of that. Everything's been a lie. Everything's been downplayed. Everything's been cutting corners. The whole thing. And whose expense is that at? Me, my mom, as we're chased down by the media, we're terrorized, all these different things. People are questioning my authenticity. I'm done. Don't lie. Don't put this on me. This is a candidate issue, not a me issue. I wouldn't have spoken out if there weren't all these lies every day.
Well, now let's go to my panel. Michael, Teresa, and Joe. Michael, I must say, if you're a Republican, they're trying to put a good face. They came out, Senator Rick Scott, the Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, they're saying full steam ahead. You got folks like Matt Schlapp all talking about how, we have imperfect people, imperfect candidates, and blah, 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 blaming the Democrats, saying this is all on them. This is not what you want to see happen to your candidate 1 month before the election, Michael.
Of course not, absolutely not. But I think there are some concerns that we have that it seems that there may be only a handful of states where a candidate like Herschel Walker could run in and even be close in the polls. Georgia happens to be one of those states. But the concern is, if we all remember in 2016 during the Access Hollywood tape when that dropped on Donald Trump, a lot of folks obviously thought, his candidacy was over. Forget about it. He might as well just drop out. But it didn't matter. These voters, these I guess they weren't MAGA voters yet in 2016. They obviously evolved into that are now supporting Mr. Walker may not care, because as long as it's not a Democrat in that seat, that's good enough. And so that's the concern. So I don't want folks in Georgia to think for a second that, oh, now I don't need to go to the polls. You absolutely need to go to the polls. You need to bring a friend, a family member. Please don't go to the polls by yourself. Take it seriously. Take it like Senator Warnock is losing. And in some polls, he actually is. Most of the polls, I understand, is either tied or he's ahead by a little bit. But please don't take this news as, okay, now we don't have to worry about it. We still do. Get out and vote in Georgia.
Thing here, Eric Erickson is a prominent conservative in Georgia. He was tweeting last night, Joe, where he said he's heard from conservative women who are already bothered by a vicious and truthful ad from the Warnock campaign talking about Herschel Walker, the allegations of spousal abuse against his ex-wife. He said this here does not make it easier for them to cast a ballot for Herschel.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, right? Because, perhaps Michael's point is very valid, but hopefully, Herschel, he's a bad candidate. He's not particularly smart. The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. And he's a hypocrite on top of that. But he's their hypocrite. And if, however, perhaps they don't give him the deference that they give white candidates that are hypocrites, that aren't particularly good candidates, and that aren't particularly smart, perhaps the current senator, Reverend Warnock, can get over and be okay. And so, it may be that some of these women are a little less likely to vote for Herschel Walker than they would on some other candidate with some imperfections. We're not so sure of that, because the fact of the matter, given how many deficits he actually has and all the problems he has, when things go on in the dark, they come out in the light, particularly when you're running for office. You got to know how you're going to spend these things. Take responsibility at the beginning. Hey, listen, I've done some things over the last X number of years. He didn't do any of that, right? And in fact, that's what his son says. Well, I feel sorry for it because he's hurting, but that's a separate family thing. But even now, they may forgive him. But the fact that he's competing at all, to Michael's point, should make us know we're still in a very dangerous moment. There's nothing like, we saw it, frankly, with our president, with the 45th president, having someone that really doesn't know how to work the wheels and just is going negative. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to be. They don't know where to stand. And Herschel Walker would be one of those. The fact that he's competing at all should make us all have caution and give us all the urgency in the world to go to the polls as if white women, as if Republicans will do what they often do, is that they get power and argue about it later. This would not be the first terrible candidate that they voted for, so I wouldn't put it past them. And we've got a great candidate, and we've got to do everything we need to do to keep him in office.
And Teresa, the Walker campaign is saying that they had a record fundraising night after last night's story. They are trying to raise money off of it. But it's certainly, keep in mind, Biden won the state by 11,000 votes. And the reality is every vote matters. And so I don't care what they say, you do not want this to be the story, especially when it's the son of the candidate who is destroying him as not being a family man, as not being a virtuous man, as not being a godly man, which is frankly the only platform Herschel can even remember.
The one benefit that the Republicans are doing are actually raising money, because there are so many challenges that is happening right now with the character of this candidate that it's going to make it very hard for people to want to vote for this guy. I mean, it's a very different scenario when we're looking at Senator Warnock. And he is the type of, senator who is what the conservatives are looking for, except his policies are Democratic. And so, when we have someone, again, they just wanted to find, conservatives wanted to find an African-American man to put up, and they was hoping that he was without flaw. But this is what you have, and this is what you're going to get. So I'm glad that they are raising a ton of money, because that's what they're going to need if they decide, or they can't get out the race now, but if they want to have an actual fighting chance.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?